Hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. Today I've brought the GT3 down to Asphalt Classics in the south of France. I've wanted to visit this place for ages because they always seem to have cars in stock that are right up my street. Uniquely spec'd, rare, modern classics, the kind of stuff that I love. And today I'm going to be getting behind the wheel of two pretty damn rare and one quite quirky Mercedes, an SLS AMG Black Series and a CLK DTM. I'm going to let you in on a bit of a nerdy Seen Through Glass secret. I never usually like filming black cars. It's super hard to make them pop in the thumbnail, it's hard to capture all of their lines, all of the details, they just look a bit bland and boring, so I always try and film colourful cars. However, today, I couldn't care less that these cars are black because they look amazing in black and amazing together in black. If I'm going to be filming a black series, surely a black series is the ultimate black series to film. How many more times can I say black until it starts sounding weird? Black. Yeah, it's gone. Weird word. Black. So as I mentioned, these two cars are exceptionally rare. Just 300 SLS Black Series were ever made and just 100 CLK DTM coupes were made. And now I'm sure you're all very familiar with the SLS Black Series because of course Shmi 150 owns one. It's a very well documented car, a bit of an iconic modern classic. But the CLK DTM is a weirder, quirkier, more niche car. I feel like not a lot of people sort of know about this car or really realise what it is. I'm going to include myself in that because for a long time I just kind of assumed it was a Black Series with a body kit, but over the years people have educated me as to just how special and how sort of mad this thing is. So whilst these two cars are sort of pretty different, they follow that same recipe of the kind of, well, taking a base product, an SLS and a CLK, and over-engineering it to such an extent that you end up with this wild, crazy creation that was supposed to be track-focused, but is still fundamentally a great road car. So yes, we're going to be getting behind the wheel of both of these cars and giving them the ultimate Seen Through Glass test by, of course, going to get a coffee. Might have to be an iced coffee today because it's about 30 degrees. So yes, let's jump in. I guess maybe we jump in the Black Series first, talk about that, go get a coffee, and then we'll switch into the DTM. I'd forgotten how unique the SLS cockpit is. I obviously drove an SLS for the first time at the start of this year in Australia. It's a really special place to sit. It's such a wide cabin that you feel like you've got loads of space, but the car is still kind of small, but then you're sitting right back over the rear wheel, so you've got this long bonnet. It takes 2 seconds to get used to. And of course, these incredible gull wing doors, which I reach up and pull down. They're very light, so you've got to kind of be careful. You don't want to absolutely slam them. But there's obviously no ordinary SLS. This is the Black Series, which for a long time was one of the most powerful naturally aspirated cars ever made, but full stop, AMGs ever made, at well over 600 horsepower. I mean, the figures on this car are still impressive today, even though it's basically 10 years old. So yeah, let's fire it into life. Oh, there's a rumble. Oh. Oui. Désolé, au revoir. Keep the radio off, but get the aircon on because yeah, it's so hot. I mean, it's reading 34.5 on the in-car thermostat. That can't be right, but it does feel about that. Anyway, yeah, aircon on, seatbelt on. We'll avoid the harnesses for now. Let's go drive an SLS Black Series. Boy, is this a pretty region of France. I wish I could tell you exactly where I was, but I don't know. We're just somewhere near Asphalt Classics. Secondly, that CLK DTM looks insane on the road. I had underestimated just how wide those flared wheel arches are. But anyway, we're in the SLS Black, so let's focus on this. Yes, I fell in love with the standard SLS earlier this year when I drove it in Australia, but it's a car, it's a shape that I've always adored. The Black Series obviously is just SLS plus, but it is so much more than a wing and a power tune. I actually watched the Chris Harris on Cars review of this thing when it launched 10 years ago, And, well, he spends the first half, if not more than the first half of the video, talking through all the changes that they made to the standard SLS. It's unbelievable. It's lighter, it's more powerful, it's wider, it's flatter through the corners. Just everywhere that they could improve it, they did. So you're left with this, well, GT3 RS equivalent, essentially, but with, yeah, well over 600 horsepower from the iconic 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8. This was kind of one of the last hurrahs for that engine. It then really disappeared and we got all the bi-turbo stuff. So this is a celebration of a bygone era of AMG. But yeah, this thing is just mega. The steering is, I think, fantastic immediately, but the thing that you noticed immediately is the power. This revs up to 8,000 RPM. At 2.5, 3,000, I'm already getting out of the throttle because I don't need any more. It's so slippery at the rear that it's hilarious. And these downshifts. I think both cars on startup were a lot quieter than I was expecting. Maybe because I got used to sort of modified CLK Black Series or SLS Black Series. But once you get this thing in its sporty modes and get through the gears, yeah, it sounds good. And all that power. It's kind of torque limited in first gear, then you get into second gear and it just flies. Oh, I love these things. So damn cool. These roads just keep getting better and better, honestly. I can't wait to ask Toby from Asphalt Classics, who's in the CLK, where we are and what these roads are, because yeah, I am coming back, my God. There have been quite a few tourists just at the top of this hill who all kind of looked a little bit flabbergasted to see these two cars, because even if you're not into cars, firstly, you recognise the badge. Everyone knows what a Mercedes is. If we were here in some niche Pagani or something like that, people aren't always sure, but I think everyone, yeah, sees a Mercedes and goes, oh wow, what's that? And they both have such presence visually and then also sound-wise, the way that they rumble past you. God, I'm completely sort of overwhelmed by this experience. I think the reason I like it so much, this particular car, is that I am a GT car fan. Look at my love of the F-Type. And this is definitely one of the best driving GT cars I've ever experienced. Just feels so fun. Yes, poised, but just fun. Look at this. Oh. God, my things are going everywhere. Toby just said, right, let's go. And we haven't stopped since we left the dealership, and I'm so happy about that. I'm sorry there aren't more angles. I'm sorry I haven't got the drone up, but as I explained a few weeks ago, I'm keeping things pretty simple whilst I'm down here in Monaco with my family. Time is tight. I've got nappies to change after this. But to escape for a few hours and have fun in these cars and make videos for you guys, oh my God. Yeah. Pretty spectacular. Well, this has been a fantastic stop, Le Château de Alpi. I'm really working on my French pronunciation at the moment. I had a Café Noisette, which I've kind of become obsessed with whilst down here. Just an espresso with a splash of milk. But yeah, really, really beautiful location, and I've continued to enjoy exploring this area. But we're now walking back to the cars, which we left under the shade of some trees, and I'm going to be jumping into the CLK, which I'm super intrigued by. I feel like it's got a lot to live up to now after how much I fell in love with the SLS, but given its road presence, or at least what it looked like from behind, I'm still pretty damn excited to jump behind the wheel. Look at these door cards, by the way. It's just like a sheet of carbon fibre. I mean, there's nothing, I haven't got an armrest or anything like that. I've got some switches for the windows and some speakers, surprisingly, but yeah, this car is stripped out. Important to note, this is not a homologation special. This is a celebration car, celebrating Mercedes' basically dominance of the DTM series with the CLK. So it didn't have to be as hardcore as a homologation special, but it's got lots of Lots of very unique and interesting features that make it, I think, stand out quite a lot more than a Black Series. I mean, just look at this rockage. This strut here, carbon fibre. Absolutely mad. Anyway, we do have a 4-point harness, so not dissimilar to the 360, which means getting out of anywhere takes a little bit of time. Earlier when we were leaving Asphalt Classics, I said to Toby, I was like, come on, let's go. And he was like, yeah, let's go. And about 20 minutes later, we were ready to leave. It's going to be the same experience now. Oh my God. Now, this car, 2005, a year that I'm a big fan of, because of course, same year of production as the Challenge Stradale, and as I found out a few weeks ago, or remembered a few weeks ago, as the Veyron. So it's a pretty good year. It's actually going to become one of my favourite years, I think, for the automotive world. Now, are those on? Yeah. Okay, I feel even more like I'm in a race car now with these harnesses. Quite a square steering wheel, Alcantara, big old paddles. I've got some buttons. Actually, I don't really know what they do. They're very race car-esque, but anyway. Foot on the brake. I guess ignition first? Yeah, let's do the ignition. Bitter warten! Oh, no. Don't want to get sued by Adele. Okay, let's fire this thing into life. Very quiet. So, interestingly, this car... Sorry. Oh, aggressive air conditioning. Can you hear me? I hope so. Often these air cons blow out the microphone. But yeah, interestingly, this car does not use the iconic 6.2 litre V8 that we were just driving in the SLS Black. This actually uses the CLK 55 engine, the 5.4 litre, but with a supercharger. So, into reverse, we can put the window down. I'm ready! This air conditioning is super aggressive, so I guess let's get up and running and let it cool off, and then maybe you'll be able to hear me slightly better. Now, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I'm very lucky to do what I do. I drive some amazing cars, but I often know quite quickly if I'm really going to like a car or not. And it tends to be just in the first 20 or 50 metres as I'm departing a dealership or a manufacturer or whatever it might be. And so I can tell you almost immediately, I think I'm really going to like this car, because just driving out of that hotel car park, I'm already like, oh, I'm getting a little bit of the fizz. It feels really special in here. There's something about my seating position which actually, I'm quite high up, so I've got fantastic visibility. This steering wheel is very CLK GTR reminiscent. It feels real race car, especially with these buttons that I haven't figured out what they do. And then the roll cage, the carbon fibre that's visible everywhere, the firmness of everything, and the era. Yeah, this is ticking a lot of boxes straight away. Oh, there, the gear paddles as well, got a nice kind of weight to them. This is a cool bit of kit. Now, I do remember I really liked the CLK Black Series when I drove it, so kind of makes sense there's going to be more up my street. And whilst I fell in love with that SLS, this is a tighter, smaller package that's, dare you say, even more focused. So I guess we're going to find our way out of these towns and then open this thing up and see what it's all about. I'm wondering, is it going to be as tail happy and silly as the SLS, or maybe a little bit more focused and dialed in? I guess we'll find out. Boys and girls, I'm in love. I am in love. Where has this car been all my life? I'm actually going to have a handful of friends, well, bashing the screen right now because they've been telling me for ages that I would love a CLK DTM, and I just kind of blew them off. I was like, oh, come on, like, it's just a Black Series, isn't it? Like, who really cares? But no, this is so different, and so different to that SLS in front, mainly because of the front end. This steering and the turn on this car is bloody fantastic. It's close to my G3. I mean, look at this. Just grip and confidence. Oh, I haven't quite figured out my gearing yet, mainly because we do have a 2005 automatic gearbox, so it's not that sharp, but The way this thing corners is spectacular, and it might have something to do with the fairly firm ride, definitely firmer than the SLS. We are on a bumpier road, but yeah, this thing does hop and skip around. Let's talk about the brakes for 2 seconds, because this is one of the handful of cars that came from the factory with the upgraded brake package. These bigger brakes that were supposed to last longer, go further, perform better, etc. Well, yeah, super rare option. Actually, it was an option that required you to get bigger SL65 Black Series wheels. Usually the CLK DTMs come with split rims that I don't really like the look of. If you went for the bigger brake package, then yeah, you got these better looking wheels. So you've got a bit more performance in that department, but I just cannot believe how well this thing handles. I mean, the overall feeling and vibe from the seating position and the layout, I just love this thing. Oh my God. Yeah, you could say this is a 996 GT3 RS rival, but I would put it beyond that. It's so rewarding. I feel mega confident in this thing, way more confident than in the SLS. Power is still mid 500 horsepower, so it's a bit more controllable in that department anyway, but it's just all to do with the handling. And I guess the weight they reduced on this thing, I think it was 70 or 80 kilos lighter than a Black Series. Then of course with a slightly smaller engine as well, supercharged in its nature. It is a lot quieter than the SLS, but it doesn't really matter when you start thinking about the way it goes around a corner. These brakes are good. I wonder what the standard brakes are like, because these are very good brakes. How is this car nearly 20 years old? Dynamically, sorry Challenge to Darley, but this thing is way more dialed in. It's not got the same emotion, I don't think, but I kind of feel like I'm in a DTM car on the road, which I guess is the whole point. The CLK Black is what you expect from a Black Series. Big, shouty, braking traction, and just funny. This is a serious track car. That's a slightly sketchy place to do an overtake. It's just this gearbox. It's just not giving me exactly what I want, exactly when I want it. It's all a bit delayed, but I guess, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm not going to win in every single department. There's so much else about this car which I really enjoy. Oh, is that the police? That is the police. All right, lads, just out for a little cruise, don't mind me. Okay, come on, Pergo. Thank you. We're away. You know what I want to do? I want to do like Melee in this, or some road rally. It is on track. This thing must be fantastic. Just so much easier to control, the traction and just everything about it. It kind of reminds me of the Alfa Giulia GTA, or the GTA-M, is it? And then Project 8, sort of, but yeah, it's got that vibe. I really like the seating position. I really like so much about this car. Oh, I'm just going to start making weird noises now. Bear with me. Yeah. What an absolutely awesome experience in two hilarious and amazing, but actually very different cars. And I never thought I'd say this, but if I was to take one of them home, it'd be the DTM. That thing was the surprise of the bunch. I didn't really get a chance to show you some of the really quirky switch gear in the cabin. That car has cruise control in the weirdest position ever. It's kind of like back here. You would never be able to access it. I mean, like, it's pointless that car has cruise control. And then to switch like traction control or between manual gears and sport gears, like, it's all just a bit dated and mad, but that's kind of another thing I love about it. Absolutely brilliant. So huge thanks to Toby at Asphalt Classics. A wicked day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Short but sweet. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Stay subscribed for plenty more videos to come.
Might as well rock and roll.